Hello, this is Robert, and welcome to Prowler's Model Shop for the first time. For my very first video, I'm going to do in-box review on Kinetic's T-45 Goshawk. This is in 1/48 scale. Let's start right up. Okay, now this is what's inside the box. One bag filled with all your sprues, your instruction sheet, and your decals on the inside here. Now we'll go ahead and go through the instruction booklet and the decals in a later portion here. Let's go ahead and start with what's inside the bag here. The bag is taped with some adhesive on the end there, so you don't need to cut it. You can just peel it back and open it up. No big deal there. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues in there, and you have your 5th sprue, which is your clear sheet here. You have your canopy and some of your lights and whatnot. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the first sprue here. The first sprue is the fuselage halves. They feature raised and recessed detail. The raised detail is in the form of rivets towards the rear of the aircraft by the exhaust. Then you have recessed panel lines and rivets throughout the whole fuselage. Some of the recessed detail is kind of small and is not very deep. This can cause difficulties with weathering. Some of the detail may be covered up with paint. Especially with the white paint that's going to be painted onto this aircraft, because it is kind of a visible aircraft that is a trainer aircraft. So some of that detail may be lost. We'll see, but I'm happy with the fuselage halves. I think they look nice. They're consistent on both sides. You know, if you have to work around some of the shallow detail, it's okay. I mean, we should be able to manage on that. Now for the second sprue. The second sprue has quite a bit on it. You have your instrument panel, which is both digital and analog. The analog would be for the Alpha model. The digital is for the Charlie model. So you can model both aircraft. You have a cockpit tub here. The cockpit tub is lacking of detail. Has some ejector pin marks there. Nothing crazy bad, but yeah, it's just okay. Then you have what I like. I really love this. I think this is just awesome. You have the main gear bay doors. They are put together, so to make this aircraft gear up would be very, very easy to do. But it has seams on it to where it'd be easy to cut if you need to cut it to you know, have it down and dirty. You have some other parts here. You have some seats. The seats are rather plain. There's not much detail there. There's no photo etch in this kit. Obviously no seat belt at all there. It's kind of boring, but you know, there's going to be aftermarket stuff available for you, you know, in the form of photo etch. So you know, the seats are not to worry on that. But fairly nice, fairly clean sprue. No flash on any of the parts. Everything looks good. Everything looks right there. Moving along to the third piece, we have some more gear doors. Here we have the exhaust, and inside here we have huge ejector pin marks, like huge pieces, and that's quite a shame. I mean, you know, that's one of the big negatives of this kit is that. I mean, that's uncalled for. I mean, you know, that's something you're going to see in the aircraft. It's going to take a lot of work to clean up. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not something you can't do, but it's definitely something that you're going to have to clean up, which just shouldn't be. I mean, it really shouldn't be. Moving along though, we have forward landing gear, struts. Okay, now we have landing gear wheels. Now Kinetic does this with a lot of their kits, is they do the hubs in one piece, and then they do the tires in two pieces. I'm not a huge fan of this. I would rather them do the hubs in two pieces and have the tires one piece, but it still makes for easier masking and stuff like that. So I mean, it's better than two pieces where the hub and the tire are one piece, and then you have the reverse side. So I'll accept that. Then we have our last sprue here of the light gray sprues. We have the wings. The detail on the wings is really nice. It looks really, really good. Then you have your intake ducting. You got some ejector pin marks in there. They're definitely not as bad as the exhaust. They shouldn't take too much to clean them up, but still, hate seeing them. You're not gonna see this side at all. Why they don't put it on the side that you're not able to see is beyond me. But that's a small complaint. I mean, this kit does look really, really nice. Another thing I don't like is the canopies. The canopy has a seam in it, and then it has it has molded in the breakaway portion for the ejection seats, where they would eject through the canopy. I really don't like that molded on. I would much rather use a decal than have that molded on, because I'm kind of stuck with it, and it just doesn't look right that way. But what are you gonna do? You work with what you have, and you have a fairly nice kit. Only one loose part. It's part to the intake. For all the parts being bagged in one bag, I'm pretty happy with the way everything turned out there. Okay, now you have one of their typical instruction sheets. It has the breakdown of the sprues there for you. Then it has color index. It has a color index for 4 different colors. Viejo model color, model air, Mr. Color, and Italy acrylic paints. You can find your paint online if you need to. It tells you what colors they are. It gives you one federal standard, and that's light ghost gray. Otherwise, they're just regular colors there. Okay, first they have you decide what model you're going to build in the form of the instrument panel. You can either start with the Alpha or the Charlie. Everything is well laid out here, so I think you shouldn't have any problems. It's going to tell you what part is for what plane. You design the cockpit tub. The intake portion. Now the intake blades and the exhaust fan, they're the exact same, which I think kind of sucks. Now the exhaust duct is quite long, so I don't know how much of the facing you'll see of it, but I think for them to look the same is kind of a cop-out. I know they're not going to look the same, but that's still okay. Like I said, it's going to be it's fairly long, and you're probably not going to see it. The only time you're going to see it's with a flashlight if you shine it in there, so it's probably not that big a deal. Go through the steps. You're at 14 here. Okay, now you can do flaps extended. Which is cool, flaps and slats extended. That's always a cool perk. I like being able to do it. I don't want to have to do it, but I like that it's offered in the kit. It lets the builder decide what they want to do, and I think that's always a good thing in a kit. Then you have your decal placement, your coloring, and whatnot. And you also have that on the back of the box. The back of the box will show, let's see if I can get that up there, that shows decal placement and the coloring of the aircraft. Kind of a cool deal on the back of the box. Got some photos as well on there, reference photos, so that's pretty neat. Okay, now I have the decal sheet for you here. This is a decal sheet done by 2 Bobs and printed by Cartograph in Italy. Okay, now I have the decal sheet for you. This is a decal sheet done by 2 Bobs, and then it was printed by Cartograph in Italy. As I've seen other places, other people have mentioned this. The decal sheet is kind of interesting. I've never seen this before, but it's broken down into parts of the aircraft and where the decals go. For instance, left middle fuselage, right middle fuselage, upper fuselage. Then you have a few specific to certain aircraft. So this would be specific to the A model, and this would be specific to the C model that they're supplying you with. Kind of interesting. I think that's kind of cool. It makes it a little easier to locate your decals, but still kind of different. It's pretty much a plain sheet, but it's for a trainer aircraft. Being this is a trainer aircraft, it doesn't have a whole bunch of squadron markings and whatnot like that. So it's pretty simple. It's kind of vanilla. But that's a trainer aircraft. It's to train you so you can go to an operational squadron. When I took into account everything in this kit, I think I would probably give this kit 8.5 probably. There are a few problems. I mean, nothing major. Some ejector pin marks in places where there probably shouldn't be ejector pin marks, but you kind of run into that with a lot of models out there. You just got to be a modeler and clean it up. I mean, plain and simple, just clean it up. Otherwise, I think this kit's a really, really nice kit of a subject that, isn't done up much. It's not like an F-14, an F-16, an F-18 where you see it online all the time. This is definitely a kit that is not very common to see out there. I think it would make a very, very nice addition to anybody's model collection, especially for those that model Navy and Marine Corps aircraft. Model the plane that starts their career. For your Navy and Marine Corps pilots, this is where they're going to cut their teeth. I appreciate you guys watching my first video. This is Prowler's Model Shop. I'm Robert, and thank you for watching. Look forward to future videos. Thank you.